Namaste. Guru Shani Conjunction, Jupiter-Saturn Conjunction. In one word, I can define this conjunction, and that one significant word is Nishtha. Nishtha is an Indian word which primarily means devotion, steadiness, and faith. In these three words comes the whole meaning of this word Nishtha. Steadiness is one part of this significant meaning, that many of you have faith, but many of you don't have the patience. But Jupiter-Saturn conjunction has the quality of faith as well as patience, the quality of being faithful as well as being patient. Steadiness in devotion, patience while remaining devoted. There was a great Sufi saint. His name was Junaid. And when he became old, many of his followers asked him that, Master, how did you meet your master? How did it all happen? And the question itself brought tears in Junaid's eyes. His eyes became wet and he said, I will tell you. 40 years ago, I was in search of a master. Then finally, one day, I met him. But when I met him, he didn't speak with me. He ignored me. But I still remained with him. I started serving him. I started sweeping the floors. I started cooking for him. But he never used to talk with me. Many people would come to meet him. He would talk with others. But with me, he would never talk. He would always ignore me. Well, that was my feeling. But still I continued because I loved him. So I used to sweep the floors. I used to cook food for him. I used to do all kind of trivial things that are required to maintain the monastery, the ashram. After 2 years, one evening, as I was sweeping the floors, he looked at me. And that was the moment I was touched. There was so much of compassion in his eyes, so much of love. Just one look, and that was enough for me to continue for the next 2 years. And after the next 2 years, one morning, he looked at me and smiled at me. And that was such a sweet smile. That one smile was enough for me to continue for the next 2 years. And in the 6th year, one night, as I was sleeping, he came to me. He woke me up and he said to me, it is time for you to leave. You are ready. And then he gave me a kiss on my forehead. And that was all. That was all. Now you tell me, for 6 years, a student cannot wait. but a disciple can wait. Nishtha, steadiness, patience. And when the master says that you are ready, I must be ready. And so then my journey began. In those 6 years, only 3 times he looked at me. The first time he just looked at me. The second time he smiled at me. And the third time he gave me a kiss on my forehead and said, you are ready. This is how Nishtha, Guru Nishtha is. And that is why Saturn Jupiter conjunction is a very beautiful, pious conjunction. It not only bestows you with intelligence, real intelligence, but also signify that you are getting ready, that you have a good foundation, that you can progress on the spiritual path, because you have nishtha. Faith and patience is what the word nishtha signify. Guru Shani conjunction is also a sign of Guru Parampara, meaning continuation of the traditions and the teachings of the masters, the great masters. So on a higher level, Jupiter-Saturn conjunction signify a man or a woman who indeed is an evolved soul. However, if this conjunction falls in an horoscope which is poor in quality, meaning there are many malefic aspects, Rahu, Shani, Ketu, Mars, then this conjunction may not fructify the way it can fructify in an horoscope, which is a blessed horoscope. And always remember, blessing comes your way when you start turning inwards. It is not that you will be blessed and then you will become good. First, you have to become good, only then you will be blessed. In this podcast, I have shared certain insights on this wonderful, pious, holy conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn. So let's begin. Shani, Saturn signify karma, actions. Jupiter signify inner voice, morals, principles, conscience. In 2 words comes the whole essence, tattva, of Jupiter-Saturn conjunction. Actions executed by following the inner voice, conscience. The English dictionary defines the word conscience as the inner sense of what is right or wrong in one's conduct or motives, impelling one towards right action. A man, a woman having Jupiter-Saturn conjunction has a certain depth of understanding, because you can listen to your inner voice only when you are willing to turn inwards. The native is born to follow the dictates of conscience. It is indeed the most beautiful conjunction of all Saturn conjunctions. The native is a blessed soul. Always remember, a man who follows certain principles, certain ethics, is someday blessed by the Master. So it is not that a blessed man is a man of conscience. In fact, it is a man of conscience who earns the blessings of the Guru, the Supreme Master. One beautiful quote of Mahatma Gandhi is, "There is a higher court than courts of justice, and that is the court of conscience. It supersedes all other courts." Society may pressurize you to do a certain thing, but you must always follow your conscience. A Jupiter-Saturn native always follows his conscience, his inner voice. Never do anything against conscience, even if the state demands it, says Albert Einstein. Shani understands the gravity of the situation. Shani is being sincere. When Jupiter conjuncts Saturn, then the sincerity is more than average. The person is very sincere towards his profession and his commitments. One should understand the difference between being serious and being sincere. You become serious when you think that you are the doer. I am doing it. I am the doer. I should be able to do it. The greater the I, the greater you remain serious. But look at Buddha. Buddha is not serious but sincere. Look at Mahavira. Mahavira is not serious but sincere. The real spiritual enlightened beings are never serious, but they are sincere, very sincere. Remember, love cannot exist with a serious mind. With a serious mind, logic is in tune. Be non-serious. I am not saying you that not to be sincere. Be sincere, but be non-serious. Sincerity is something else. Seriousness is totally different. Be sincere with existence. Then you will be true. You will become part of this cosmic Leela, this cosmic play. Sincerity is always good, seriousness is not. My whole effort here is to keep you as non-serious as possible, for the simple reason that meditation, all kinds of meditation, can make you too serious, and that seriousness will create a spiritual disease and nothing else. Unless meditation brings you more laughter, more joy, more playfulness, avoid it. I am doing my job with sincerity. But if I become too serious in executing my job, then stress starts building upon me. Then I start worrying. Then I fear failure. You see, this is what happens with common beings who are taking everything so seriously because they believe that they are the doer. But Krishna says to Arjuna, don't be too serious. I am telling you to shoot that old man, then just shoot. Be sincere to the cause for which you are fighting this battle. Then don't see whether the old man is your grandfather or your father or your brother. Just surrender to me and follow my order. Remember, you are just a medium. You are not the doer. And Arjuna shoots. He shoots without being too serious. He is not serious. He is just sincere to the cause for which he is fighting the greatest war of his life, the Mahabharata. The master is always in search of someone who is like Arjuna. And let me tell you all, one in a million, only one can become Arjuna, only one. That too after a long, long search and test, that the master finds his Arjuna. Arjuna, John, Ananda, and many such unique individuals are chosen by the master, because the real disciple is always chosen by the master. The real man is always chosen by God. Jesus chooses all of his 12 apostles or disciples. Krishna chooses Arjuna. Buddha chooses Ananda. It is always the master who chooses his disciple, and not the disciple who chooses his master. Remember, the disciple can never find the master. Only the master can find the disciple. So the disciple has to go on seeking and seeking and seeking just to be available to the master, so that when the right man comes, he can choose you. Only the master can choose you. You cannot choose him. In ancient secret wisdom of Egypt, it was said that when the disciple is ready, the master appears. It is so. If you are ready, the master will appear, and your readiness is your availability. It is to be available. Jupiter-Saturn DNA men and women have the basic foundation to get ready, to remain available, because they have a certain depth of understanding, a certain class, a certain flair, which makes them the ideal ground to stand up and get ready. But every conjunction fructify based on the angle in which you are born. There are 4 angles, and those 4 angles are dharma, righteousness angle; artha, money or a pragmatic angle; kama, sexual or pleasure seeking angle; and 4th, moksha, spiritual liberation or the dissolving angle. On which angle are you born is based on which ascendant sign you are born. If you are born on Aries, Leo or Sagittarius ascendant, then you fall into the dharma, righteousness angle. If you are born on Taurus, Virgo or Capricorn ascendant, then you fall into the artha, that is the money or pragmatic angle. If you are born on Gemini, Libra or Aquarius ascendant, then you fall into the kama, that is the sexual, intellectual, pleasure-seeking angle. And if you are born on Cancer, Scorpio or Pisces ascendant, then you fall into the moksha, that is the spiritual, liberation, dissolving angle. Saturn-Jupiter conjunction will give results based on what soil it is sowed. If it is sowed in the soil of dharma, then this conjunction will imbibe more religious sanskar on Saturn. The religious quality of Jupiter transforms the pragmatic Saturn, leading to a conservative person who will stand against abortion laws, basically anything that goes against the norms of religious scriptures. When Saturn-Jupiter conjunction is in the soil of Artha, then Saturn takes the upper hand and Jupiter has to follow Saturn's orders. So now Saturn's pragmatism takes the front seat, religious beliefs and conservative ideas takes the back seat. This conjunction anyhow is a positive conjunction. So here it helps the man or woman to do well in business, in their profession as such. They are able to make good decisions in their business. When Jupiter-Saturn conjunction is in the soil of Kama, that is in the sexual angle, then the person gets more philosophical in the matters of relationship, marriage, or sex. Here Saturn plays as a benefic and Jupiter a spoiler. So if at all anything good has to come, then it comes from Saturn and not Jupiter. Here Saturn has the upper hand, while Jupiter simply follows Saturn's orders. When Jupiter-Saturn conjunction is sowed in the soil of moksha, that is in the spiritual angle, then the person is blessed in many ways. Here Jupiter is the boss and Jupiter drives Saturn, and so it enables the native's spiritual progress. So it all depends on which soil you are born, that is in which ascendant you are born. Soil matters a lot. The ascendant angle matters a lot. Many times it happens, especially during the old times, that marriages were decided based on the background, the ideology, the thoughts, the lifestyle of the family from which the woman comes. You see, soil matters. In Marathi, there is one beautiful saying, Jashi Khan Tashi Mati, meaning the soil is based on how the mind is. That is, the daughter or son is based on how the mother and father is. Similarly, Saturn-Jupiter conjunction is based on what ascendant sign is, because as explained, every ascendant sign falls in a certain angle: righteousness, pragmatic, sexual and spiritual. So the conjunction result is based on which soil, that is in which ascendant angle it takes birth, to which ascendant angle it associates with. The word associate is a very beautiful word. Company matters. There was a young man, a very lovely person, always truthful, always understanding, and always forgiving. He was just like a bird, like a flower, like a beautiful painting. One day he fell in love with a girl, and the girl was not an ordinary girl. She was a very beautiful girl. Her beauty was such that even the priest would forget all about the scriptures. Her smile was so mesmerizing that even the most serious person would forget all about his seriousness. She was indeed a diva, an apsara, walking on this planet. So it was natural for our young man to fall in love with her, and he was also a handsome man, and so love started blossoming between the two. Then he had no time for me. It happens. Once you are in love, you forget everyone around you. You become so much focused, so much glued, so much engrossed, as if there is nobody in this whole world as important as the man or woman you love. That is the way of love. That is how it happens. When you love, you simply love. And so I was happy that finally the man had found the love of his life. Time passed by, and after 6 months on the streets I found him. He was broken, he was depressed, he was no more the same. He recognized me and he said, I am devastated. She left me, she abandoned me. I am stuck now. I don't know what to do. This is the story of every man who comes in contact with a woman who is wrong for him. Listen to my words again. Listen to my words again and again, because I am not saying that the woman was bad. I am saying the woman was bad for him. Understand the difference, because this is significant. The woman may be good for another man, but for this young man, she was not suitable. When a good seed falls in a soil which is not suitable for its growth, then what happens? The seed simply decays, dies, deactivates. The fault is not of the soil, the fault is not of the woman, the fault is also not of the seed, that is the man. The whole fault or destiny is that the seed, that is the man, fell in love with the soil, that is the woman, who is not suitable to his nature, to his growth, to his blossoming. You understand? Exactly this is how conjunction works. When a certain conjunction falls in a suitable soil, in a suitable ascendant, only then it starts blossoming. And it is only when it blossoms that it can provide positive results in its totality. Saturn belongs to the ground level, the daily actions, the daily course of life. Jupiter belongs to the higher altitudes, the ideologies, the thought quality, the vision, the purification, the depth of understanding, and the conscience, the values and principles and ideals. Here, Saturn gets spiritualized, meaning the karma of the individual is of higher quality, of much higher altitudes. It is an excellent position for the native if other aspects and a suitable ascendant angle is present. When you start working for a higher cause, then life is no more the same. Everything around you is the same, but life is no more the same. You are no more the same. Working, Saturn. Higher cause, Jupiter. Jupiter-Saturn or Saturn-Jupiter is basically working for a higher cause, for a higher purpose. Reminds me of Henry Ford, a man of values and a man who also had a Saturn-Jupiter conjunction. One significant quote of Henry Ford is, "A business that makes nothing but money is a poor business." Henry Ford created the first automobile that middle class Americans could afford. He was the first industrialist from auto industry who helped the middle class men and women to attain their dream of driving a car. On October 1st, 1908, Henry Ford and his Ford company introduced the first car, which was an affordable automobile, and he made car travel available to middle class Americans. It was named as the Ford Model T, also popularly known as Leaping Lena or Tin Lizzie. Henry Ford had a Saturn-Jupiter conjunction in the second house, Virgo, so his ascendant was Leo, and as explained, his conjunction was falling in Dharma, in religious righteousness angle. Henry Ford was highly religious and also was anti-Semitic. Saturn-Jupiter conjunction for Dharma angle brings Jupiter to the forefront. And so Jupiter brings more liberal thoughts, more humanity, more tolerance, and more understanding. Henry Ford during those days was actively hiring black Americans in his factory, which was not normal in those days. He also hired women and handicapped men at a time when doing so was uncommon. Saturn-Jupiter conjunction brings thoughts and perceptions of a certain higher altitude. It is a blessed conjunction, but one has to see if the blessings showered through this conjunction truly materializes in its totality or not. And that, as explained, is based on the ascendant it falls in. You have the eyes, I also have eyes. You have heart, I also have a heart. Your heart beats just the way my heart beats. You see? You see what I see, but you will appreciate only that which is within you. Remember this. This is significant. To realize the beauty of a painting, to realize the beauty of a poem, to realize the beauty of a writing, a certain depth of understanding has to be there. To realize the goodness of a certain creation, goodness first has to be within you. you will appreciate and you will be able to appreciate only that which is also within you, which is also blossoming within your being. The seed of goodness is found in the soil of appreciation, says the Dalai Lama. The whole story of human life is based on the compatibility of the seed, that is the quality, conjunction, and soil, that is the environment, the ascendant chart. There are many good singers and many good actors, but not everybody gets the proper launch or break to blossom, to grow into a star. And my fellows and all my listeners, this is where the higher consciousness comes into the picture, to which we address as God. You may have the talent, you may have the skill, you may also be knowledgeable, but all of this can truly manifest into success when you meet the right person who can give you the chance, the perfect platform to take that jump and experience the stars. A seed needs suitable soil to grow. A man needs a suitable break to grow. Saturn-Jupiter conjunction needs suitable lagna, ascendant, to grow. It is all interlinked. It is all linked in. In reality, the whole world is connected. Those who feel disconnected is because they haven't yet switched on to the journey within. And that is the message to all my good fellows who have Saturn-Jupiter conjunction, who have the potential. You have the potential. You have the depth of understanding. You can grow within. All you need to do is to take that first step towards yourself. You need to start meditating. The journey may be long, maybe of many births and rebirths, but always remember, every long journey begins with a small step. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step, says Lao Tzu. Many times people try to manipulate the situations of their life by ways of black magic, white magic, or by plotting, intriguing, scheming around. They think that by doing so, they can get what they want. Many times they also get what they want, but later on they regret heavily, because what you get by manipulating is not always good for you. And therefore the wise man, the meditative man, the man who says I am spiritual, never ever manipulates situations, because he is perfectly aware that it can backfire, and it does backfire terribly. The great spiritual master Neem Karoli Baba quotes, "It is very difficult to know exactly what good should come out of a particular situation. To attempt to manipulate circumstances so your idea of good can come about is to let the ego play God, and that, as you know, can and does backfire." People are shallow. The majority is shallow. And so the business of black magic is flourishing across the world, because people are in rush. They are in rush to get what they want. Someone is not getting married, they try to fix themselves by doing all the setting. But what happens later is so terrible, so horrible, that the less said the better. Whenever you get things that you want by indulging in black magic, remember, you are meddling in the affairs of God. You are intervening within the laws of God. And when you do this, you are all set to experience many setbacks and miseries in your life. By manipulating the course of destiny, you may get married when you are not supposed to get married. By manipulating the course of destiny, you may get a promotion when this is not the right time for you to get a promotion. But people don't want to listen. People follow their mind, and the mind is a monkey. The mind is restless, not willing to be patient. And that is what Sai Baba has been saying his whole life. Be patient, be faithful, but people will just visit Shirdi, but will not listen and not follow the words of Sai. सो जाओ मेरा ध्यान करके, मैं हूं ना, क्यों चिंता करते हो, तुम पर आज तक ना आने दूंगा, बस श्रद्धा और सबूरी रखो, says Sai Baba. Meaning, meditate on my name and sleep. I am with you, why you worry? I will not let anyone trouble you. You only need to have faith and patience. But who wants to listen? People are running all over to magicians and all kind of arts of magics so that they can quickly get married, so that they can attract the man or woman, so that they can get a job, so that they can get a promotion. The mad world of these shallow people is so vast that it is beyond the power of expression. These people cannot wait. They cannot understand God. They cannot understand Sai. They cannot understand Jesus. The Holy Bible says, Jesus answered and said to him, what I am doing you do not understand now, but you will understand later. The delays that you don't understand is for your good. It happens many times that you want to catch a bus and you are so much in a rush, but you don't get it, and somebody else gets it, and then later you realize that the bus had stopped in the middle because it had got punctured. You see, then you realize that why God didn't let you board that bus, because although you were thinking based on your small understanding that the bus is good for you, still the compassionate God, the benevolent Master is perfectly aware that the bus is not fit for you. There is some other bus on your way that is good for you. You cannot see that other bus because you live on the ground while God is watching from above. The Holy Bible says, I will not let you fall, for I am watching over you day and night. The most beautiful and significant question that you can ask yourself is, how a certain seed that is quality falls in the most perfect and most suitable environment. Who initiates this happening? God. The answer is God. The ultimate consciousness, Krishna consciousness, Christ consciousness, Buddha consciousness. Names may differ, but what remains is consciousness, God consciousness. Now the next question would be how to ensure that I, that is you, your soul, falls into the right soil, that is in the right family, or your quality and your talent gets the right opportunity, the right platform, the right break. And the answer is surrender. Simple. The most difficult questions always have the simplest answer. The answer is in one word, surrender, samarpana. When you live with surrender to your Lord, to your Master, then the miracle can happen. Then you can be placed in the right environment. Then your talent can get the right break and the perfect platform. Unless you surrender, how can God lift you and drop you in the most suitable soil or environment? That is why all religions and all divine masters encourage you to surrender. Lord Krishna says to Arjuna, surrender. The Bhagavad Gita says, abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. I shall deliver you from all sinful reactions. Do not fear. Jesus says to his followers, surrender to me. In fact, just like Bhagavad Gita, the most important message throughout the Holy Bible is the encouragement to surrender before God. The Bible also says, surrender yourself to the Lord and wait patiently for Him. Islam, the name itself means surrender. Islam is a highly intense religion and it emphasizes the significance of living your life by surrendering to Allah, that is God. The tawakkul in the Holy Quran says, having complete trust that Allah's plan is the best plan. Tawakkul is having full faith that Allah will take care of you even when things look impossible. Indeed, Allah is sufficient to protect and manage the affairs of His servants. Basically, all religions simply encourage you to live your life by surrendering yourself to God, because only then can God pick you, that is the seed, you are the seed, and drop you in the environment, in the right soil that is suitable for your growth. The beauty is in believing in God. The beauty is in living in total surrender. Always remember, this miracle of you, that is the seed falling in the suitable soil, does not happen by affirmations. The miracle happens only when you start taking efforts. Remember, the miracle of the seed and the soil is not available by affirmation. It is only available by labor. To understand conjunctions, seeds of a certain quality, you all need to first understand the significance of the soil in which the seed falls. That is where you all have been missing, and my whole effort is to simply help you find the way. Remember, a teacher is never a giver of truth. He is a guide, a pointer to the truth that each student must find for himself. The character of the soil, that is the ascendant, is determined by the seed, that is the conjunction. See how beautiful is this. If the conjunction, that is the seed, is not providing the desired results, then you can understand why. The fault is not with the conjunction, that is with the seed. The fault is with the soil, that is the ascendant. And if this fault has happened in this birth, then you now know that even this fault can be fixed only when you start living your life in surrender. When you live in surrender, something comes through you into the world of duality that is not of this world. How beautiful is this, how deep. I am speechless, I am touched, I am moved. Only a meditative soul, only those who have been following me closely, only those rare beings who are meditating daily can truly understand the depth of this beautiful quote and this beautiful sharing. By living in surrender, the divinity within you comes into this world of duality, that is Dvait, which is not of this world. This divinity is not of this world. You see, this is the miracle of surrender. This is what all the divine masters have been emphasizing their whole life. But who wants to listen? But those who can listen, those who can resonate, those who can relate, can truly progress in life. And when I say progress, it has nothing to do with your cars and bungalows and pleasures of bed and fame and money. It has more to do with your inner being, because the progress, the growth within cannot be taken away from you. Nobody can steal it away from you, because it is something that is not of this world. It is of the beyond. It is the unconditional love that only the Master can relate, and only you can relate to. Saturn Jupiter conjunction natives are God-loving beings, a faithful being, and this seed is of high quality, of higher altitudes, of high level. This conjunction can make a person highly spiritual, highly initiative, and a good consultant, a great counselor. A flair of philosophical touch, but with more focus on spirituality, is seen in these natives. Lastly, they are not just believers, they are also seekers. And Buddha wants seekers. The Master wants seekers. The Buddha is not interested in God believers. Buddha is only interested in God seekers. The first thing that Buddha says to his followers is, remember, only talk to the seekers. There are many who are inquirers, but who are not seekers. Many are curious, but not seekers. A curious person is childish. Every child is curious, but not interested in knowing. A seeker is not curious. He wants to know, and to know he is willing to jump. He is willing to take the effort. That is why Buddha always searched for seekers and not believers. Buddha says, I don't want believers here, I want seekers. The seeker is a totally different phenomena. The believer is not a seeker. The believer does not want to seek. That's why he believes. The believer wants to avoid seeking. That's why he believes. The believer wants to be saved. He needs a savior. He is always in search of a Masiha. Somebody who can eat for him. Somebody who can chew for him. Somebody who can digest for him. But if I eat, your hunger is not going to be satisfied. Remember this. Always remember. God believers will simply come and ask, where is God? How is God? But a seeker, a real seeker will come and say, please show me the way to experience God. I want to experience God myself. Always remember, you will get an answer based on the questions you ask. To the God believers, Buddha answers, there is no God. But to a seeker, Buddha simply goes beneath the banyan tree. He closed his eyes and he went into deep meditation. And the seeker is always an intelligent man. He is a man of heart. And those who follow their heart, words are not required. Just a signal, just a sign, just a small action is more than enough. And so the seeker observes Buddha meditating. And so he thinks that this must be the answer. And so he too sits beneath a tree and he starts meditating. And after a while, when it is getting dark, he opens his eyes and Buddha is now standing before him. The man starts crying. He is overwhelmed by the compassion of the Master. He says to Buddha, you have shown me the path and I am so thankful to you. I have no words to express my gratitude, but I will always remember you and I will always remember your answer. Remember, Samasti, that was the last word of Buddha. Just remember to go back to your source. Just remember to meditate every day, because God can be experienced only through meditation, only when you meditate with love and devotion. Jupiter-Saturn natives are seekers. Now, depending on the evolution, on the level of the horoscope, the native seeks. Some seek money, some seek bed pleasures and luxuries, some seek power, some seek fame, and then there are very few, very few, 1 in a million, who seek that which is beyond this materialistic world, beyond the reach of your head. Someday, you all should read the book I Am That, written by Sri Nisargadatta Maharaj, one of the greatest masters of recent times. This beautiful divine book is translated by an Englishman and is a great spiritual motivator for those who are seekers and not just believers. Sri Nisargadatta Maharaj says, this body is like an instrument that says 7 a.m. like an announcer. Presently you think you are the body mind and whatever concepts you have gathered are flowing out. When you begin with spirituality, you reject the body mind with I am not that. Then you come to the I am only without words. Then you are everything. You are not confined to the body. How deep is this quote of Nisargadatta Maharaj? The moment you self-realize that you are not the physical body, you are not the mind, then the real journey begins, to which the world addresses as the spiritual journey. Saturn-Jupiter conjunction is specifically addressed by the ancient seers as a great conjunction because it is the coming of two biggest planets in the galaxy. It is like the state, that is Saturn, coming together with the church, that is Jupiter. Saturn's decisions are influenced by Jupiter if Jupiter falls in an ascendant angle that favors Jupiter, while Jupiter's decisions are influenced by Saturn if Saturn falls in an ascendant angle that favors Saturn. It all depends on which soil, that is in which ascendant angle, the seed, that is this conjunction, falls. If you have lived your past births and rebirths by surrendering at your Lord's feet, then this conjunction of yours must be in the right soil, meaning in the right ascendant chart. And if you have been utterly ignorant and living your life with arrogance and by hurting others, then it is obvious that this conjunction of yours must be in the wrong soil, in a wrong company, in a wrong ascendant. Always remember, company matters. With whom you are matters. Who you are following matters. What you choose matters. The quality of your thoughts and the quality of your choice is totally based on the level of your consciousness. If you really want to make a good choice in your life, then you have to start focusing on expanding your consciousness. And once you start expanding your consciousness, then every day is a new day. Then boredom never comes. Then every breath is a fresh breath. Srila Prabhupada of ISKCON says, our every day is a new year. Our Krishna consciousness is so nice. The more you advance, you see new year, new year, new year. Every day a new year. That's all. Nothing is old. The message to Saturn-Jupiter conjunction native is simple and straight. Don't worry about the destination. Don't worry about the results. Just focus on doing what you are supposed to do, and the rest will follow in its own accord. Jai Sri Ganesha, Jai Guru.
ॐ गं गणपतये नमः। ॐ गं गणपतये नमः। ॐ गं गणपतये नमः।